Hi everyone, my name is Renita and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, SATX Bound question mark. Now if you've been considering a move and Texas is on your radar and it is a big move and San Antonio might be in your thoughts, you've been thinking about it, you wonder about it, you're not real sure about it, well I'd like to share some tips and tricks with you that I've learned about, noticed, paid attention to, and seen since I've been here. I'm from the Midwest and I've been in San Antonio for the past 3 years. And I've noticed, I've paid attention to a lot. There's a lot going on here, but it also doesn't have to be. And if you're new here, you haven't seen my last video, or you want to know more, um, my last video I talked about the weather, which is paradise. And I also talked about the 6 different highways that there are here that all intermingle, commingle with each other, and all roads lead out, but all of the highways here, they connect you to other highways to different sides of town. And I will say that there are really no side streets, no back ways, no shortcuts. It's highway or nothing, pretty much. Depending on what side of town that you're on, it's pretty much highway until you get to that side of town. Then you're driving on the street and you're on the access roads. And they have what you call turnarounds, which you will learn to utilize. Because if you don't catch that turnaround, you might be driving way out of your way and have to turn around somewhere else off the highway. So you want to catch the turnarounds when they become available. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was the weather here in San Antonio. The weather is paradise. It's almost tropical, like you're on vacation. The sun shines 90% of the time. It rains. I think I read somewhere that it's like 33 inches of rain in a 3 or 4 month period. But I will say, when it rains, it pours. And it also hails here. And hail damage is a serious thing. I was in a hailstorm one time down here, and it was raining so hard and it was hailing so hard that I feared for my life, okay? I feared for my life. I was nervous in my car. The hail was hitting the windshield like it was going to bust the windshield or break the windshield at any moment. Thankfully, I was close to an underpass near a highway, and I was able to hide out up under the underpass, under the highway, along with a number of other drivers that were there. But we decided to go there because it was safe. It was still raining like crazy, and we had to wait until the storm cleared because that hail was coming down so tough. Like, it made you fearful of being on the road, and it can also do a lot of damage to your car. I know a couple of people personally that have had to file insurance claims because of hail damage to their vehicles, and I'm just like, man. So what I will say is, when you do move here, you want to find somewhere that has a garage, and you definitely want to be able to utilize that garage by parking in it, and not just for the hailstorms and because it rains, but because of the heat. The sun shines 90% of the time. So you think about your interior, you just think about your steering wheel, you think about if you got leather seats, man, and things, it's gonna be hot. You just think about the elements with the sun shining 90% of the time. So I'll say, get you a garage. A garage is where it's at. I know people that have garages that don't even park in them, but I'm not that person, and I ain't gonna say nothing. But I have a garage, and I will park in my garage, and I'm so glad about it, because everywhere else you go, or everywhere else you go, you're exposed to the sun. Your car is, your vehicle is. And you also want to make sure you get a sunshade. I never paid much attention to a sunshade until I moved here. Even where I'm from, the sun would shine. It'd be, 100 degrees or whatever, the sun would shine. You wouldn't think of having a sun shield in your car, right? Or a sunshade in your car. But when I moved down here, I had a whole different respect for a sunshade in my vehicle, because it makes all the difference in the world. The weather is really tropical. It's triple digit weather 8 to 9 months out of the year. And when it's not raining, it's warm. It might be overcast, it might be kind of cloudy outside, but if that sun is shining, it will be warm. And I also want to let you know that you will need to invest in sunscreen. If you're not a big outside person, then fine. But if you're outside, if you like to be outside, if you know anything about being in the sun, you definitely need protection from sunscreen. Like I said, I've been here for 3 years, and I can tell you my skin has changed colors. Like I'm 4 different colors on one side of my body, and on the lower part of I'm different colors. Even when I wear sunscreen, but I know it'll come back or it'll even itself out eventually. But my skin color has changed from being outside, and I wear sunscreen. But I'm still thankful for the protection. But you still want to be mindful that if you're going to be outside, you need sunscreen. And what else did I want to say? Tropical weather, it's pretty much paradise. Sun shines 90% of the time. When it rains, it pours, and it does hail here. Tornadoes aren't really a big thing here because there's not a real large body of water. But in rural areas, there have been tornadoes that have touched down. But if you live in a city, then you should be fine. As long as you live close to a highway, or you live not on the outskirts, but if you're not real far out where it's dirt roads and you know you still have horses and carriages out there or whatever, you just live in a farmland, then tornadoes aren't real likely here. Hurricanes aren't real likely. Don't quote me, but I'm just saying I've been here for 3 years. And I haven't heard much about a tornado or a hurricane, and I try to watch the news and stay aware and stay up on information, but no real hurricanes, no real tornadoes. What else did I want to mention? The weather is paradise. Tropical, warm, sunny, dry heat for the most part. It might be kind of humid to some people, but I always say in the summertime, it's always hot. Anywhere you go in the summertime, it's going to be hot. Their Texas heat is just different than Indiana heat and Michigan heat and Chicago heat. Even Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, they all have different weather climates, but it's still warm. Houston gets hurricanes. Dallas gets tornadoes. So it just depends on, you know, your preference of city in which you want to live in. And I will say that when it is wintertime around here for the 3, maybe 4 months that it is wintertime, the weather is still like 60 degrees. Some people still wear shorts. Sometimes it does get really cold at night where you will need a jacket or you will need some kind of covering, or you might want to put some pants on, but it just depends on the individual. If you're cool with the 60-degree temperature, fine. If it's too cold for you, like I still think 50 degrees is kind of cold. Even though I'm from the Midwest, it's cold to me down here when it's 50 degrees because it's just different. And there hasn't really been snow. It doesn't really snow here except that one time when I first moved here, they had that snowstorm and they shut down the whole city. Like I couldn't even go to work for a week because they shut the city down. And the highways, they're all on inclines and they got dips and dives and curves and things of that nature. So it's not safe to be on the highway in the wintertime, especially if it's ice storms or if it's ice and rain or sleeting or things like that, because they've had people slide down those ramps and those inclines on the highways, and that's not very good. So they want to eliminate that as much as possible. So they shut the city down, and I was grateful because another thing I will tell you, and then I'm gonna be done, they drive like the Fast and Furious around here, okay? Everybody's in a rush. Everybody has somewhere to go. Everything is important to everybody when they're in their car, and their main goal is to move you out of the way and drive as fast as possible. So if you're not familiar with the Smith system, you might need to get familiar with the Smith system, because you need to be looking forward, you need to be looking to the side, and you need to be utilizing your rear view mirrors. You might think you're a good driver, and you are a good driver. You are, because I like to think that I'm a good driver, but my best advice is to just get out of the way. Either drive as fast as they drive, but somebody might get a ticket. But just be mindful, they drive like bats out of hell in this city. And I love it because sometimes I just get in the mood and I just be driving, but I also don't like tickets either. But thankfully that's not been a thing. But just be mindful, they drive like the Fast and the Furious down here. Oh my God. Even on the street, even on access roads, they're always in a rush and they've always got somewhere to go. They don't use their turn signals. They're impulsive, inconsiderate, and just mean and in a rush. Man, just be careful. But if you're interested in moving to San Antonio, these are just a couple of things. The weather and the highways. The weather is like paradise, and the highways are a lot of them, 6 of them. But I mean, if you're looking for a more warmer climate, San Antonio is a good place for the warmer climate. Now, there are a few other things that you need to know about this climate and being down here in this weather, but I'll get back with you on that in my next video. So if you like what you saw, if you stayed for the whole video, click like and click subscribe, and I will see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. See you.